Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NACTV. I'm Eoin Devereux with the Banner and Press, welcoming you to the September 12th edition of not just the newspaper, but of this program. And I'm joined this week by fellow journalist Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you here this week.
Good to be here once again and going through another edition of the paper. And of course, we got lots to cover, but, well, there's only so much we can fit in, don't we?
It is jam-packed, so jam-packed that there are several notable conversations we could be having about some of these stories, and we're not going to be able to do it in the 30 minutes we have today. That's why it's always important to pick up a copy of the Banner and Press in 30 different locations, 30 different communities throughout Western Manitoba. If you're not able to get a physical copy of the paper, always remember you can track it down online at neepawabanner.com. So let's get into it as always with our front page. This week's front page, be straight with you, to shoot straight with you. We got so much great news in this week's paper, but in terms of a visual component to go with that news, it wasn't so good. We were just hemming and hawing and trying to figure out what we wanted to put out on the front page. So in essence, we just, we did a hard target search out and about on Tuesday, just trying to track down some stuff. And Casper, you got the picture there on our front page this week. You were able to get the buzz, so.
I sure did. Very kind of difficult photo to take. The subject was a little elusive, as it were, but I managed to get a photo of this bee here. Of course, you want to get a hard copy of the paper so you can see the photo very clearly, or I guess take a look at it online if you're not able to get a hard copy. But yes, as Eoin mentioned, I was sort of out on the beat, as it were, looking for things to photograph, and it was a very interesting adventure because while it was just in town, an area I was familiar with, I was using a different lens that Eoin so kindly lent to me, so I was experimenting with that and seeing how it worked, and just kind of taking my time, looking around, of course playing with that stuff, and just seeing what I could find in the area that might be an interesting visual. And so I actually took a little venture up around the park lake here in Neepawa to see what I could find. And it was kind of funny, although we obviously didn't use this photo. As I was driving down the road to go to the bird sanctuary area, and I was kind of like looking around and, just driving slowly to see what I could see on the way as well, I was thinking to myself, this would be one of those times it would be great if there was like some deer right here. And, I come around the curve there and there's deer. And it did startle them a little bit, but I thankfully was able to come to a stop there on the side of the road without scaring them completely off, and I wasn't sure if they were going to stick around or not, but they did slowly kind of venture back out fully and get back to doing their thing, just having their casual little graze there on the grass, having a little bit of snack, and I sat there in my car, rolled down the window, turned the car off, and was just like sitting there for like maybe 15 minutes or so, snapping photos of them. And oh my gosh, there was this other vehicle that eventually came down the road behind me there, and I think as they were coming, they were like, what is this person doing? And then they also saw the deer and they're like, oh. And then the deer ran off. But anyway, it was a interesting little moment there, and they of course went all the way up to the lake and looked around at all these other different animals. Of course, lots of birds up there. I was looking up all in the trees, and of course at the birds in the sanctuary there as well, and all the other animals they have. And this was just the one that sort of ended up working out best for the space and just sort of seemed more visually interesting. So that's the story of how all that happened to be.
That's right. And again, that's sort of the background and the details of what happens when it comes to the week by week of putting a paper together. Sometimes you've got just a whole plethora of interesting and important stories, but that visual aspect just isn't there. Like, I'll be honest with you, I've got about a half dozen or so pictures in here, and quite honestly, 4 of the stories don't have an interesting visual component to go with it. That's just the way it is sometimes. The news, the words are important, but the actual images sort of let you down a bit. And that's the reality of a newspaper. You've got to have that visual component. It is so important to the presentation of it. So great. It was Casper and Josh went out and about and we're looking around for it. I stayed in. I was working on the pages there because I got no eye for visuals for the most part. I get lucky every once in a while when it comes to taking pictures, but for the most part, I just do not have the eye for the image. I'm more of the word guy, more of that. But let's talk about some of the other words on the front page. Ken Waddell has a story, and it, for the most part right now, isn't directly impactful so far to Neepawa proper, but it is affecting a lot of outlying communities out by Rivers, Rapid City, Verdun, Elkhorn, all these other ones within the Neepawa Banner and Press, Verdun Empire Advance, Empire, I guess. And it's a scam that's going on. And Ken Waddell wrote up this story, and he wanted to get the message out there to all the individuals to be careful about this. Something that I paraphrased calling it the risk manager scam. Now, if you're getting reports, if you're getting contacts from individuals, from credit unions who are claiming that they are from Sunrise Credit Union and saying that they are a risk manager with it and that there are some issues coming out from the fraud department, don't fall for this type of thing right now. This is a new scam. It's getting very high tech and very sort of specific in terms of how they're trying to shape this. And it's something that's going on, and you got to be careful about these things. It is so unfortunate that we are living in a world like this, where they're trying to take advantage of individuals in this manner. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can find it on page 1. We thought it was very important. It was so important that we did need to put it front and center, we thought, and it carries over on to page 19 of this week's edition of the paper. So watch out for that. Be very careful, because we don't want anyone to be taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form, like is what seems to be happening a little further down the road. We're going to segue quickly off of that one into some of our specific stories that impact us right here in and around Neepawa. We got a preview of a couple items here for this week's edition, and this is one we did last year. Last year, this was a day where everything seemed to be happening all at the same time, and we had everybody out and about covering it. And it was fun. It was great that we were out like that, but it's nice that they've spaced things out slightly this year. Two of these events that we're going to be talking about are spaced out different weekends. Well, let's talk about this one first and foremost. This is a story, it's a preview story from our newest reporter, Joshua Jackson. It was a story that Casper covered last year when it was happening, and last year it was the inaugural Neepawa's Got Pride event, and this now the second annual Neepawa's Got Pride. Casper, you can roll through on this a little bit for me here, because you were there first and foremost last year. What are your thoughts on the event and how it went last year, and what are you hoping for in terms of this year's?
Right. Well, I think it was very well received last year. I mean, there was certainly a very good crowd out there, and it was a lot of fun while I was there. Wish I could have stayed a little longer, but as Eoin mentioned, there was a lot happening that weekend, and we had to sort of keep on our toes, as it were. So for the period I stayed there, I really enjoyed myself. There was lots of activities and entertainment there to take part in. Of course, as you can see, even on the page 2 there, we have a photo, some face painting happening, and of course on the other page 11, there was some entertainers who did some performances, stage performances, and a whole lot of other stuff, like there was like button making and all sorts of things. So there was really something for everyone there, informational booths and all sorts of stuff. So it's really something that I think brings people together. I mean, everyone's welcome if they come with an open mind, right? So, and it's really just there to have fun and further build sense of community. So I'm looking forward to that again this year, and looking forward to being able to stay for a longer period, if I so wish, because I am hopefully actually going to go there with maybe some family and friends too, as well as, of course, go there for the paper.
Well, again, it's wonderful that Josh was able to get the perspective on this and to share their perspective on this. And this is, it's a good event to be able to have in the community. We think that because we are a smaller town that we don't have that representation within Neepawa, which is patently untrue. So it's wonderful that they are able sort of to celebrate that and to share the experiences with those who want to be a part of it. If you don't want to be a part of it, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Don't be a jackass about it. Sometimes people think that their way is the one true, only right and wrong way, and that's not the case. Everybody's living their lives and living their own experiences as best they can, and they are seeing their perspectives from different angles from you, and that's okay. That can be okay. If it's something that you're not associated with or not down with, that's fine. You're always welcome. You're just like any other event in this community. Everyone's welcome. And hopefully you go in with an open mind and you get the opportunity to experience it. And, it's an opportunity for us to sort of learn as a community as well. So if you want to, as Casper said, it's going to be happening this weekend. It's going to be happening on Sunday, coinciding in around the same time as the Terry Fox run. We had a preview of that in last week's edition of the Banner and Press. I'll be down there covering the Terry Fox event. And again, like Casper said, last year we had the special ceremony for Neepawa's Legion Week. I covered that, and I covered Terry Fox. Casper, you had Logan's Run, which was happening at that exact same time,
Yep.
and Neepawa's Got Pride as well. And as well, I'd forgotten about this also. The home opener for the Neepawa Tigers football team was happening that day as well.
Yes.
So it was like, oh my God, there was so much going on. And Joshua hadn't been hired yet, so it was just the two of us that were doing all of that. So we got Josh here this year, and they've spread things out a little more evenly throughout the week or two. So it's going to make things a little bit easier. Speaking of which, let's segue over nicely into that thing I just mentioned, Logan's Walk. It's an event that's been going on, I forget, 6 years now?
Yeah, this will
Yep.
be the 6th annual event, so it's been going for a good bit now, for sure. You might know it as a different name, because it was under a different name previously, but they've sort of officially shifted away from that name just because they've changed their fundraising priorities as to who they're fundraising for. But you might know it as the Walk With Us campaign from past years, as officially this year they're calling it Logan's Walk for Down Syndrome Awareness. So similar to previous years, they're inviting everyone out to the Langford Walking Trails on September 21st, 3 p.m. In order to get together and, of course, take part in the walk, get out there, enjoy the trails, and, of course, raise some funds for this initiative. And the fundraising is actually going to be going fully towards Touchwood Park Association, Inc., and it will be to boost their accessible playground project, which the playground, of course, is up right now at, I think it's 445 Commerce Street was the address.
Yep.
It'll be boosting that project, and hopefully we'll have a good attendance again this year. Hopefully the weather cooperates as well. I know it's been interesting sometimes in September holding events. One of the years I went, it was actually very rainy. And of course, last year, although it wasn't rainy, it was quite hot out. So hopefully we'll have a nice sort of ideal temperature and weather for this year's event. But looking forward to it. It's always very well received. Lots of people get out there to participate, which is wonderful. And of course, it provides, a group that sort of understands, what people are dealing with, because, there's lots of actually different families in the area that have family members who do have Down syndrome. So it provides a good networking and community for that as well.
It's really nice to see that local organizers see the value in the event and continue to bring it forward each and every year and be supportive in this manner, and locally supportive as well. As you know, all the proceeds and support goes to local endeavors, which is wonderful to see. you're part of the community and giving back to the community, that really does mean a lot. And it leads by example as well. So hopefully, if that's something you're interested in and being a part of it, you can check it out. It's going to be coming up next weekend. So hopefully we'll see you down there. All right, let's get into some of the council aspects of this. If you are a loyal and consistent viewer of NAC TV, perhaps once or twice you've seen town council right here on this station and some of the important work that they do for Neepawa in terms of keeping us progressive and keeping us moving in the right direction. There's a couple things that we came out of the most recent council meeting that are kind of interesting. This is one thing that came out. It wasn't directly impacted by the town council. They were alerted to this and they let us know about it during the council meeting. This is more of a Canada Post endeavor that they're trying to do. So don't be blaming council. This ain't council's fault. But if you are a resident of West Park Mobile Home Park here in Neepawa, surprise, if you haven't received your letter yet, your mail is going to be moving. But in actuality, it's going to be moving a little closer to home for you. Canada Post has made the decision that they are going to be sending out letters to all 51 of the mobile park occupants and letting them know that they will be setting up what is known as community mailboxes in West Park. Now, what that is essentially it's those outdoor mailboxes that are set up. They're weather inclusive. I mean, there's no issues with weather, with rain, with sleet. They're bulletproof almost, pretty much. So don't worry, all your Amazon packages are going to be fine, and your bills, unfortunately, you're going to be fine with those as well. But they're going to be setting it up over at West Park. And what that means is actually it's going to open up 51 P.O. boxes at the Canada Post building. And with the town of Neepawa expanding as it has over the last few years and continues to expand, there's only so much space really for people in Neepawa to be able to get their mail now, and we're not going to end up expanding the post office building. That's not going to happen. We'd love it. It'd be great if they could. I'm sure they'd love it, but that's just not that's not reality. That's not possible right now. So they got to come up with these other types of plans. So they were going to be sending out letters to the occupants of West Park. Maybe you've received one already. Maybe you haven't. Again, if you haven't, well, surprise. This is how you know. This is how you learn about it. So it's something that's going to be happening a little later in the year. So it's not right now. It's not like if you go down to your P.O. box, you're not going to have mail there. But they're going to have that transition period that's going to be going into the fall and into the winter for there. And I think that's a pretty good idea. It opens things up a little bit. And I'll be very interested to see how that moves forward. Not just for West Park, but maybe other parts, maybe new areas of Neepawa could follow that example. I guess we're going to find out in the near future. Let's shift over into something else here. This is something I'm very glad to see. And it does directly impact representatives from council and the town of Neepawa. Our mayor, along with Marilyn Crew and a few members of Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic, will be heading down the road to Brandon a little later this month for a resident doctors retreat happening September 20th in Brandon. And they are showcasing to these doctors why they should maybe think about setting up their residencies right here in Neepawa. They're being very proactive in terms of getting more doctors here, as they should. We are a growing community. We're going to have a brand spanking new hospital sooner rather than later. And we're going to need some doctors and we're going to need some nurses to fill that hospital. And they want to get them sort of locked down right now. So they're going to be going to this retreat and pitching Neepawa as a viable option for them once they finish up their residencies and once they start their practices. So I wish them very good luck on that. There's not much more really to say on that, but that's all for right now. And one other thing as well, like I said, council was a plethora of news stories for me, because quite honestly, everything else was a little slack. I got a little lazy this week, just between you and me. Don't tell Kev. All right, but council saved my bacon, as it were, because they had another thing here As you know, the Mill Street Training Center, where we had the ACC nurses program for 2 years, it's going to be empty next year. Or I should say, it was going to be empty next year, but they have just finalized a brand new deal, the town of Neepawa and Assiniboine College, for a brand new program, a 1-year program that's going to be taking up partial residence inside there. And I think that's a wonderful idea, maximizing the facility. It's going to be for a medical administration program. So that's going to be coming to town soon. And that's going to be a 1-year program. And there's going to be more information that's going to be coming out in the near future. So keep an eye on social media for the town of Neepawa, or right here on the pages of the Neepawa Banner and Press when we get a little bit more information. And if you're interested in being a part of this course, we're going to have that details for you in a future date. All right, we only got a few minutes left here, so we're going to very quickly sort of jump. I'm going to leapfrog a story we had here, Casper, for one or two of the ones that you put together here. This one came by your desk regarding a new group, a new theater group that is going to be calling Neepawa home.
Yes, they're certainly hoping to make it home. This was something that came across my desk here, courtesy of Blair Chapman. He's always really great at reaching out to me for many different things, and this so happened to be one of them.
I think we've. All right,
we're doing our ventriloquism.
There we go. I was about to bring out the Muppet and start miming. It's like, oh geez, I better start doing a little dance or something.
Yeah, but this
keep people interested.
Indeed. But this is for the Beautiful Plains Community Theatre Group. It is Blair Chapman, Gwen McCaskill, Claire Reyes, and Rainster Gonzalez. They are part of a group that is looking to, of course, establish this musical theater group. And right now they're really sort of in the interest check stages of things. And they're really hoping to, if they can build the space, move forward and even possibly do a performance sometime next year. So right now, really what their plan is, they said, is they're going to be very soon holding a public meeting to see how many people are interested, because, they themselves, they've been invested in music and singing and theater in different ways, different capacities, not necessarily just performing, but also, for like makeup and all sorts of other stuff, because while they said it is musical productions that they're looking to get into, there's a lot of different other roles that you can get into if you're not looking to perform, right? There's a lot of support that goes alongside with the onstage performers, like promotion and marketing, which I guess kind of in a way are same thing, but you know what I mean. Social media and building props and stage sets and painting all of that stuff and getting it ready. And, like I said, makeup. So they want to see who is all interested. It's not a commitment if you show up. They really want to emphasize that. They just want to see what the interest is. And if you're interested, what you might want to get involved in if you do decide to stick with the group. Really just seeing what people are sort of around here, if the interest that they perceived in the community is really there, and then of course what people would want to get committed to. And then of course they shared a little bit about their prospective schedule as well, but I won't get into all that. Make sure to read all the details on page 8, become more acquainted with that. And I think their meeting is actually on September 22nd at 7 p.m. Arts Forward, so look forward to that.
That's really interesting. It's interesting to see that they see there's such an interest in our community and that they feel like it's something that could develop and blossom here. So very interesting. I think this is going to be the start of an ongoing sort of relationship between the Banner and Press and this new theater group in terms of sharing some of the details with you on a pretty consistent basis. Best of luck to them. I hope it goes well. All right, with only a minute or two left, let's talk, Casper, quickly about this program in regards to an endeavor that was put on, forefronted. You and Josh were a big part of it, though, but was forefronted and pushed forward in terms of NAC TV We got to give NACTV a bit of their flowers now, don't we?
Yes, we sure do. So this was kind of interesting, actually, and kind of interesting to be a part of it as well, because I sure am not a presenter or teacher in any capacity, but, well, I have experience in the field. So NACTV and the Nipawin Settlement Workers in Schools program, through, of course, Nipawin Settlement, they held a joint program for youth centered around journalism. So there were a few different presenters, especially for, of course, video and video editing, and of course interviewing skills, and then of course applying those skills into journalism in written form as well, which myself and Joshua Jackson were the presenters for. So we got a little bit into the newspaper aspect as well. And I had the chance to get some quotes from, of course, Leewai Cabrera of NACTV, and she said it went over very well, like exceeded expectations. So it was wonderful to have that feedback. And I mean, it sounded like the kids really enjoyed the program too.
That's right, and it's wonderful that you guys were able to be a part of it and to sort of share your experiences with it. I didn't share my experiences with it. I was away on vacation that week, but quite honestly, probably if I had been asked as well, I would have been, you know, children, yeah, sure, children are a gift, but keep the receipt, all right? Yeah, no, but just learning a little bit about it when I came back from vacation and hearing sort of all the effort that NACTV and yourself and Josh put into it. Kudos on that, very much so. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, you can find it on page 20 of this week's edition of the paper, as well as so much else. There's so much we couldn't talk about today. The home opener for the football team, the Sunflower Classic, the Project 320 program, new interests and new endeavors in that. There's so much we could have gone into, even more. But we only got 30 minutes in a half hour. Strange that. That's why it's always important for you to be able to pick up the copy of the Banner and Press and see it for yourselves. Once again, 30 different communities throughout Western Manitoba where you can find a physical copy of the newspaper, or online at nipawinbanner.com. And if you have any story ideas or suggestions, or if you have any pictures as well, we talked earlier about how we hemmed and hawed trying to figure out our front page. If you have pictures of harvest or any other interesting events, send them our way. And you can do so via email at news@nipawinbanner.com. Once again, that's news@nipawinbanner.com. Or if you have story ideas, 476-3401, the number we can be reached at. And we'll try and get that into the pages of the paper and right here on NACTV as well. So again, for Casper, I'm Eoin. We always appreciate you tuning in right here on NACTV and the story behind the stories. And we hope you'll have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next time.